Hey, what's up? This is for the true sickos here. We're going to look at some run blocking snaps from Luke Musgrave in week 3 of the preseason. The reason for that is because we are all deeply unwell, but also because it looks like Luke Musgrave is going to play quite a bit in week 1, I would imagine, especially with Christian Watson out. It's one of the questions. We know he's a receiving weapon. What has he got in the running game? We are going to look at a handful of snaps. We're going to try to fly through some of these real quick. We're going to start with the bad. Got a few bad because we need to get those out of the way first. For the most part, I think Musgrave did pretty well, but we're just going to run through. We're going to look at all these from the end zone angle just to kind of try to keep this as brief as humanly possible. Fingers crossed. So you see him on the end of the line there, 12 personnel, balance line, single back. He's going to be he's cutting in. You can see him there. He's trying to line up that blocker. It doesn't really work. Now they're going to the other side. So his job on this backside, there he is right there, is he's getting inside here and he's got a good angle. I mean, the guy's there. He's got a good angle on him. They're looking, wide zone, we'll say this side, and then Taylor ends up cutting it back. But that's his job right here. Angle in, back, seal off the outside there. This is one of those where as a tight end, especially as a rookie tight end, it's less important to me in this role that that you're good necessarily, check your lockdown, that you know what you're doing and you lose slowly. Now he whiffs on this, but he knows what he's supposed to be doing, but it's still bad. We're going to show this. So here we go. He's got the inside. Look, he's got his eyes up. He knows what he's supposed to be doing. Just not in a very good position. He's leading up field there. He's not really square. So when he gets dipped back inside him, you can see his feet are off there. Guy just dips back inside. Now, again, it's supposed to be, this is the backside, but that's still somebody supposed to lock down. And when Taylor cuts it back, because as you'll see a lot in wide zone, part of the reason he cuts it back, we are not talking about Tucker Kraft in this space, but part of the reason he cuts it back is because Tucker Kraft just turns in a worse rep than Musgrave, just absolutely loses that sucker. Taylor has to put on the brakes, cut back. Musgrave loses as well. Kind of an ugly rep there. All right, let's get to the next one here. Here he is. He's going to motion in, I think. Yeah, we're going to have him motion in on this one. No, I'm sorry. He was already there. My bad. Okay, he's right there on the edge. That's my bad. On the left, I had in my mind that was Kraft. This is one that's just he does what he's supposed to do. He gets in the way. That's good. This is just one that maybe you'd like to see him clean this up a little bit. There he is there. He's going to be blocking down. You can kind of see him. We'll walk through this. So there he is, bum. He's got him lined up. Instead of kind of keeping his head up, driving through, you see he gets out over his skis there, so his feet back. He's got his shoulders up. He's falling, and so when this guy comes around, all he's doing is he's grabbing. You can see him. We'll run this again real quick. Bang, bang. He hooks that hip as he's falling down. Again, this is when he knows what he's supposed to be doing. And he gets in the way, like that's fine. But just right over here, just kind of out over his skis a little bit. He's leaning into it. And so when the defender there makes himself skinny, he's able to kind of get around, get a hand on Taylor. So that's one, just you want to see those eyes up, drive toward the inside. And then this one here, there he is on the outside there. Just watch him here. That's kind of split flow. You're going to see a lot of that from. So they're going to ask a lot of this from him in the passing and the running game is a split flow action. I mean, if you've watched the Packers a lot, you're going to see a lot of this in the run game and the pass game. That wide zone, you get that tight end from the backside, the inline tight end. Sometimes you use a receiver, the inline tight end, go and block that backside there. That is a very, very common occurrence in the Packers offense and a lot of offenses. And that's something he kind of needs to get locked down there. So, excuse me, and come over. And he just kind of, I mean, maybe it's Reed bumping him in, kind of throws off the timing a little bit there. He doesn't really get much on him. You can see him trying to kind of flow back. And there's even some miscommunication there. You can see he's kind of like, hey, man, was that your assignment or was that mine? So maybe that's something gets cleaned up because you can see Reed driving down on him. Musgrave, I think, expects him to be there. He's a little bit further up. It's kind of a tough block. So, again, keep your eyes up, know what you're supposed to do. With all those, even those bad ones, it seems like he knows what he's supposed to be doing. He's just maybe not in the best position, something like that. So those are the bad. We're going to get to the good because I think part of it, I think my expectations, I didn't expect a whole lot of him from this part of the game, from run blocking, in terms of what I knew of him in college. What I'd seen of him was not a whole lot. But we're gonna watch him here. I think he definitely surprised me here. So there he is on the end. That's 11 personnel, first and 10. Kind of same thing as that other one, right? they're running away from him. He does a really good job there. They've got that wide zone. You got the jet motion there. Christian Watson sadly won't be in the game this week. Dylan's going to be running that way. His job, again, angle in, seal that outside there. Just take out that backside. There he is. Loops around there. Where that receiver gets to his man. Hands on. Doesn't hold. Guy tries a long arm, try to get away. Musgrave just holds the space. Keeps in front of him all the way up the field. I mean, you can see what Dylan ends up doing here. He gets this go, cut back. And so Musgrave kind of holding that block, gives him the space he needs. You can see if Musgrave loses the block right here, if this happens, what happened the other one, or Musgrave's a little far upfield and this guy's able to slip underneath, that's potentially just a 3-yard gain, something like that. Musgrave holds his ground. Dylan hits a guy in the hole, ends up downfield, ends up picking up once says 3 yards. That's not right. Once he probably pick up 10 some odd yards on that, right? 10 to 12 yards, and makes the safety make a play. Another guy comes over. So really good job by Musgrave making that happen. I've got my gains are off apparently. Next one, 12 personnel. There he is on the line there. They use a lot of him here. Point of attack, man. Pass that off to DeGuara. Nicely done. Now, this is not a huge gain. There he is. Good contact. Drive. You'd like to see him, maybe stay underneath that a little bit more. But DeGuara is kind of coming to clean that up. And this is one, I think, from assignment perspective, you can hit that. And then DeGuara, if you're able to get to the outside here, get underneath. DeGuara then can kind of pull. This guy scrapes, over the top. Either DeGuara kind of leads up there or is able to take him on there, and then Dylan has a little more room to move. So I had this marked as a good one. He keeps his head up. He does drive the guy a little bit, but that is one you would like to see, and then we're being really nitpicky here, but kind of get underneath him, stay there, and drive upfield instead of having him where this guy still kind of owns the block there a little bit and is able to disengage. He takes out DeGuara as the lead blocker. I like to see him kind of get underneath, push upfield as opposed to pushing horizontally. So I did have that one marked as good. I mean, he, again, comes off the ball, knows what he's supposed to do. Can't quite get there. I like the willingness still. 12 personnel. There he is on the end of the line. And all of these are run snaps, like I said at the beginning, but just to reiterate that. Blocking down. Nice double team and just holds the point of attack. He's not asked to do a ton there, I guess. He got the double team with Nyman there, and then Nyman's going to kind of come off and block off that combo block. DeGuara blocking down, does his job driving, keeps on him. Nicely done. Nothing, I don't think that's anything too groundbreaking there, but that's a good rep from Musgrave. Again, knows what he's supposed to do, is willing to get physical, is willing to get hands-on, is willing to drive, and I think that's a good rep from him. There's 11 personnel, end of the line. Take on that linebacker. Just drive. I mean, that's I like to see that. The one note I have on this, one of the notes I have on this is keep those hands inside. Like see those hands inside a little bit more. But there he is. They're running this kind of like little delayed handoff to the inside. Musgrave is blocking there. You would like to see those hands inside a bit. Gets him wrapped a little bit there, but he does what he's supposed to do. Gets in front, gets exactly where he needs to be. Drive him out this way. The handoff is designed. The handoff is going this way. Musgrave gets inside, blocks him out that way. Good rep. Again, small note. If the hands are inside, that's a little nicer. So it doesn't look like you're grabbing. So he's got that kind of hug there. But still, I mean, the guy, he tries to break away a little bit. I don't think that's a hold. I think some of that stuff is borderline. But again, knows his job, gets inside, pushes away. Nicely done. 11 personnel. There he is on the end. Shotgun. Just block out. Hold your ground. Guy gets away from him at the end there. Again, you can see him right here. He's blocking the wide man. You got this wide guy out there. Block, hold on. There you go. Stand him up. He's got a feet underneath him. There's a long arm, stands his ground. This guy is kind of in control a little bit there. But he does not, again, my criteria is a little low for some of these. But again, for me, rookie tight end, especially a guy who is seen more as a receiving option, my criteria here is lose slowly. Lose slowly if you're going to lose, and to me, he does that there. So I'm taking that as a win for Musgrave there. He's got this YY wing, this hip slot with him and Tucker Craft here on a 1st and 10. There's blocking down. Again, just seems like he knows what he's doing there. He's blocking there. This to me, and I don't know exactly what this is muddled a bit. You can see Kraft doesn't quite know where he's going. Now I maybe not quite know where he's going. The blocking there feels a little muddled. Part of me tends to put that on Kraft just because he he had some issues in the preseason with some of this stuff. As far as being a little more confused than Musgrave is. So it's probably unfair of me. I don't like to assign blame, but something looks muddled there in terms of how they're kind of coming off the line there. And that is you get that stack look there with the linebackers. They kind of come up on that guy there. Musgrave again blocking out. You get the flash helmet there on the inside on Tom, which is what causes Dylan to break that out. I think if Tom is able to kind of get to the inside there, this goes right up the middle. And Musgrave is doing a good job kind of holding that point there. But then once that breaks outside, get this guy's got his head up, face contained. So Musgrave's man does make the tackle there, but I think he's in good position if that run goes up the middle, if that hole is open there, which seems to be his job. I say seems to be because that's what it looks to be. There he is on the end there. I think we got one more play after this. So here he is on the outside of the line in 12 personnel, 2nd and 8. We will see him blocking out. I mean, again, just does a nice job. Keeps his head up on this one. He's just going to take this, block out. Probably not quite that far. You're not blocking through the man. There we go. Engage. See, he gets that guy. He's got his foot up there when he engages. Able to keep driving. Going to string that sucker out. You got DeGuara leading. His little like lead with eye. They're trying to block through here. Try to lead him through. So Musgrave at the end of the line there, just job is to drive that sucker out. He's doing it. You got a guy coming on the inside here, which kind of muddies the water there. But for his part, I think Musgrave does a pretty good job there. Driving again, his man makes a tackle, but if that cuts up where it's supposed to, if it doesn't get muddied on the inside, I think that's a nice job by Musgrave. This is the last one, where he is there on the end of the line, 11 personnel. So the sole tight end on this play, we'll run this forward a little bit and kind of block in. And this is one I think at the end of this, I feel like he gets away with a little bit of holding. And this is, I mean, that may be an issue. We'll see how some of that stuff gets called, obviously. But he, gets inside. He's kind of a little over his skis there again a little bit. He's leaning a bit, stands him back up. The dude does look like he's kind of in control the whole time. Musgrave is in the way. I feel like if this breaks another way, at least Musgrave's in a decent position to stay in front of his man. But since it kind of cuts up there, again, he kind of twists him a little bit. So again, I had this as good. That one's not great, but I don't know. So I will say this is what I'll say about Luke Musgrave after going through all this stuff. I'd say it's a bit of a mixed bag in terms of what we've seen, and I think for his part, I think what he did in the third preseason game I think that's fairly consistent with what we saw in the first 2 preseason games. I only kept it to a single preseason game because I don't know if you notice this, I have a tendency to go long, and if I took 3 preseason games in one thing, we'd be here all night. And frankly, I don't want that, and I don't think you want that either. So that's why I decided to do this. Stick with one. I feel like this kind of went well with how his overall preseason went. So overall, I think a bit of a mixed bag. He's not all good. He's not all bad. Again, it seems like he knows what he's doing, which is what I'm looking for. When he loses slowly, but he looks like he knows what he's supposed to do. He generally gets himself in the right position. There are times you'd like to see him keep his eyes up a little bit. I think he can get a little grabby, so that's something to keep an eye out for as well. I don't know how they'll use him with only 3 tight ends, and we'll see what they call up active roster. We probably will see some of this, inline stuff. Ideally, I think maybe you want him as a big wide receiver, but we will see some more inline stuff, I would imagine. Maybe some split out stuff with Watson there. But it seemed, from what I've seen, he's not going to be an out-and-out disaster in the run game. I don't believe he will be anyway. Just based on what we've seen, based on kind of his head, kind of it seems like where he knows he's supposed to be. Seems assignment sure. So I don't I think there will be times he's going to be beaten. I think there's times he's going to hold his own. But if he is forced to play in line for any stretch of time and they're going to have to run the ball, I don't feel like it's going to be a disaster out there. I feel better now than I did when I initially thought, oh man, Luke Musgrave as like the as a inline blocker on run plays. I didn't know exactly how it was going to go. So I feel a little better after kind of going through and looking at all those preseason snaps through this. And so I hope you learned a little something. Honestly, I'm not sure how good I did on this. It feels like it's a bit all over the place, but that's kind of par for the course at this point. So thank you all for watching. We're just very, very, very close to real football, regular season football. So, and we'll be able to talk and we'll see how Luke Musgrave does against the Bears, hopefully pretty well. So thank you all for watching as always, and I will talk to you at some point next week.